Somebody saying, "Oh, Roman should have lost the last time against Cody." I'm saying, should he, or just because you wanted him to, because you wanted that feel good moment? Yeah, that's great. But if a guy, see, Dusty didn't win that the first year.
No.
Or this probably his second year. He went through all these trials and tribulations to get there.
We had Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus inside the steel cage. I want to get your thoughts on that steel cage match. Did you get a chance to see the match between the two ladies?
I didn't see I just saw bits and pieces of it for some reason. How was it?
It was fantastic. Probably, here's the question I'm going to get to too. The two women I thought put on one hell of a cage match. Maybe match of the year for WWE. People have been saying that it was one of those matches that could be match of the year. It was very unexpected from these two to put on such a hellacious match inside the steel cage. The only thing that's missing from it, and I'm old school. Dutch, I know you're old school too. In a cage match, I'm so used to seeing blood. Yeah. Would it not have been a moment for Trish Stratus to get a crimson mask with that blood all back in that blonde hair one time for the ladies?
Well, it would have been different. But you said the match was great.
Yes.
You know, there's something about a woman bleeding that that just, I'm saying, I don't want to see it.
Yep.
Tell you the truth. And what they do, they got a lot of kids watching. And one of those girls bleeding, a guy's one thing. You kind of expect a guy to do it.
Yep.
But a woman, and I don't know how many people you might turn off. I mean, while I think the guys would be the only one, or like 90% of the guys might want to see that. But I'm one of them who wouldn't. But I know the women and the little kids, they wouldn't want to see that at all.
Yeah.
And that's their business. At least they know their base. I've often said this, read the room. It's like a comic. I learned as a comic taught me that. He said, when you go on stage to do a comedy routine, read your room. And I think WWE, they've read the room, and that's why they have the rule of no blood. And of course, part of that comes from, the networks telling them we don't want any blood or anything else. Now, I remember probably 15 years ago, I was in TNA. A guy could not touch a woman. That they said we would actually lose the TV if a guy, and we showed it back on TV. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Even if it was an accidental, they don't want it. They don't want it. Now you got guys with WWE. They actually started. They got out of the box with that.
Yeah.
But the same way with blood. So you would still like to see one of them with some juice, right?
Only because I believe that a cage match calls almost for a little bit of blood. In the old days, it was always the blow-off match. It was the match, the feud was coming to a head, and you knew there was going to be violence in there. You knew there was going to be blood. And I always question why we use cage matches anymore if there's not blood. That it's almost like, well, why put the cage there? I mean, it makes no sense. If you're not going to use the cage to create the violence, why have it?
Well, the cage match was invented to keep one guy from running.
Correct.
Or other people from running in. That's why it was invented. But if you got it there, you could use it, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
But I think now they actually resort to some of those gimmick matches a little too much.
Yes.
To draw a house. But what was the best match on the pay-per-view?
I think really it was between two matches. It was either Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus inside the cage, or Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That was also another banger match. Just killer stuff. And I got to tell you, outside of that pay-per-view, Dutch, some of the best stuff I have seen on TV from WWE is coming from Gabe. No, I can't remember his last name. A little small fella against, I can't remember either guy's name now. The champion right now in WWE, Gunther. Gunther is the second coming of Johnny Valiant. I mean, not Valiant. I'll think of it in a minute. We both can't remember. Yeah, it's getting late.
But I still can't remember his name. But he was a big guy, about 6'4", blonde-headed, and he beat the out of his opponents. Where I first heard of him was in Charlotte, and him and Wahoo McDaniel.
Ooh.
They went back and forth. Johnny Valentine was his name. Gunther is the second coming because he's the real deal.
Yes.
See, Gunther don't have to get fancy. He just has to beat them up. And you have to find guys who are willing, are able to take that ass kicking.
Yes.
And they found him in Sheamus. They found it in the Drew guy. They found it in him. And I hope they go all the way with him. Because I think right now, if they were looking for an opponent to put that title on, I would seriously consider Gunther.
Yes, I totally agree.
You know, and they're working toward, I think, Cody and Roman, I guess, because of the Dusty paved the way, and they want to finish that story.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see Gunther with that top. What is the top singles belt in WWE?
Top singles belt would be, well, that'll start a whole nother conversation with me. But you got the Universal Championship and then the World Championship.
It's the World's, yep.
Yeah, but it's the World's Championship.
I think Gunther has the Universal.
He's actually, I want to say he's the Intercontinental Champion, isn't? Or is he?
I don't know.
You know, it's horrible.
We might need to pay a little more attention to that. But that tells me that they got too many belts. Of course, they got 2 shows.
Yeah.
But I think Gunther, I'm a huge fan of Gunther. And I hope they go the whole route with him because he's a guy that's a slow project. And another thing WWE has done, I preach patience. Take your time. And they've slowed down. And it's not a lack of angles they're putting out there. It's quality.
Yes.
Now with the bloodline, they don't have to do much to it.
Nope.
Because it's already made, and somebody saying, "Oh, Roman should have lost the last time against Cody." I'm saying, should he, or just because you wanted him to, because you wanted that feel good moment? Yeah, that's great. But if a guy, see, Dusty didn't win that the first year.
No.
Or probably his second year. He went through all these trials and tribulations to get there, and Dusty, I know what he was doing. You know, back in those days, you got the champion, I think, 3 times a year in a territory. And you had to make it count. So, and Dusty, to make, you know, it's not up to Dusty whether he wins or not. It's the St. Louis office.
Yes.
You know, and the board had to vote on who they wanted to be champion. So, and Eddie Graham was a big name in that, and I know I'm going back past a lot of these people's experience.
I know everybody you're talking about, though.
Well, if you study this, it made sense. They actually made sense back in the day.
Yes. Now,
when it went to WWE, and of course they started doing so much TV, they just started just cranking out angles like it was a production line. But if you crank it out like a production line, it's going to be gone in a day. People won't even remember it. But now they do things you remember now, because one thing I've always said, wrestling fans don't forget.
No.
They don't forget anything. They said, wait a minute, didn't so-and-so 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago say this, and now he's teaming with him? What the hell is going on? So you lose fans. And a lot of people said, "Oh, they don't remember." Oh, yeah, they do remember.
Yeah, they do. They do. You got to make sure you dot those I's and cross those T's because they'll call you out on it as soon as you make a mistake. Because, like you say, they're rabid fans. They know what's been going on.
They understand. They sure do. So, again, read the room and know what room you're reading.
Dirty Dutch Mantell, Rick and Sid are on assignment. That's the reason I popped in here today. Now, on our show with Bill Apter and Teddy Long.
Assignment.
I was going to say on our show, we give them fake assignments. So we always, like, if Bill's gone, we say he's over the, dancing for money at the girls club over in Atlanta somewhere. So I guess Rick and Sid are doing their own thing, huh?
I don't know what they're doing, but they missed Friday's show. I forgot that. And then I think they went to the pay-per-view.
They must be upset with you.
Yeah, they don't like me anyway, especially that Rick guy. That son of a. No, they're good. They're good guys. So.